Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. It is the player ratings. Everton 0, Liverpool 2, or should I say Liverpool 2, Everton 0, because obviously the game was at Anfield. Another really disappointing Merseyside derby defeat for Everton. Absolutely no shock there. Then a typical Merseyside derby at Anfield, really. One in which one team really wanted it and wanted to have a go and wanted to get at the other team and wanted to put the pressure on a little bit. And one team was simply just there to take part in the game of football and then go home. And that was Everton. And that has been the case on a number of occasions at Anfield over the course of the 25 years that I have been on this planet. But anyway, we have done the instant match reaction, so if you want to check out my instant being about 20 hours later thoughts to the game, then do go and check that one out. We will be live with the game review tomorrow, so if you want to see a little bit more of an in-depth discussion into the Merseyside derby debacle, then we will be talking a bit more about that in depth tomorrow. But this is the play ratings, and we are going to fly through these because I'm aware that people probably don't really want to be thinking or talking about this game of football for much longer. Jordan Pickford, I'm going to give Jordan a 6. I don't think he had an awful lot to do during the course of the game. I think the obvious elephant in the room when talking about Jordan Pickford's performance is the first goal. If I'm being honest, I'm not too sure what he's doing for the goal. I appreciate that it isn't fully his fault because the counter-attack in itself comes from, James Tarkowski hitting the post with a header, and then all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, Everton are 1-0 down. Defensively, it was woeful from Mikalenko, Coleman, Tarkowski, Cody. It was absolutely woeful defensively. But I would have to, I'll be honest, I would have to fully understand the reasoning that Jordan Pickford done what he did for me to sit here and go, none of that was his fault. He doesn't take any blame for that. And I don't fully understand the reason. I appreciate when people say, what else was he meant to do? He was trying to come out and shorten the angle. I appreciate when people say it's a very difficult position because the ball had been crossed into 3 Liverpool players and Jordan was on his own. I appreciate all of that. But to just run out aimlessly and effectively give a goal away, I'm not quite sure I understand. Now I know, listen, had Jordan Pickford have stayed on his line, Mohamed Salah may well have taken a touch in the box, got it out of his feet and buried it because he's a very good footballer and has been one of the most clinical strikers in the Premier League over the course of the last 5 years. He may have done. It may have escaped Salah and went to Gakpo, and he might have put his foot on it and finished it. And we'd all be sitting here and Jordan Pickford wouldn't be getting anything said about him because it wouldn't have been his fault. But the fact he ran out, meaning that Salah only had to get a little touch on it, and then obviously, it was directed towards the goal and went in, makes it look like a howler. Now, I don't think it's as big of a mistake as it's being made out, but I do think it's a mistake. I appreciate that he maybe thought Salah was going to leave it and then he was going to be able to intercept, but you cannot allow a player like Mohamed Salah the opportunity to effectively score what is an incredibly easy goal. And I'm not 100% sure what Jordan was doing, and I don't think anybody, maybe not even Jordan, is 100% sure about what he was doing there. As I said, if he'd have stayed on his line, there was still a 99.9% chance Liverpool would have scored that, but there was that 1% chance that Jordan could have, stayed big or stayed strong or whatever and made the save, or maybe it fell to Gakpo and because he wasn't confident he blasted it over, or whatever it may be. But the decision Jordan made solidified Liverpool were going to score, and yeah, I'm just not too sure. So I'm going to give him a 6 because everything else I thought he'd done okay. I thought he dealt with, wasn't much else at fault, but the goal was confusing for me. The goal was confusion. Onto the defence then. Vitaly Mikalenko was getting a 1. I thought he was absolutely awful. I've just done these on the plane on the way here, and I've actually given him a 2 on the plane, but I'm not giving him a 2. because I don't think his performance even deserves that. I think he was really, really, really poor. And when I say really poor, I mean one of the worst Everton performances I've seen in a long, long time from any player. He's getting a 1. I just don't think he offered anything. I think he didn't even remotely do a job trying to defend the forward flow from Liverpool. Never mind, do it well. He didn't do it. He was just all over the place. And as I said on the instant match reaction, for me, Vitaly Mykolenko needs some time out the team now, because this isn't helping him at the moment. Consistently putting him in there to perform that poorly week in, week out isn't helping him. And I know he sort of, maybe turned around a corner a little bit against Arsenal and put in a relatively decent performance and worked hard and all of that. But yeah, his performance was really, really poor last night, and I'm not really arsed that he might be a nice kid and that, we can't sit here. I'm doing a player ratings and he was woeful, so he's getting a 1. Seamus Coleman's getting a 1 as well. Very similarly, as I said in the instant match reaction, for me, the pair of them need to be taken out the team now and be given some time to rest. Seamus obviously will be dependent on Nathan Patterson's fitness, but for me, I'd have Mason Holgate at right back and Ben Godfrey at left back for the foreseeable future, because I just don't think that either of them are particularly good at the moment. And I think yesterday, again, still being against a very good Liverpool team, albeit that aren't very good at the moment, but still a very good Liverpool team. But he was just horrendous. He was absolutely horrendous against Seamus Coleman. And look, I feel sorry for him at this point, because he shouldn't be playing in the Premier League. I don't care how what people think. For me, my honest opinion, he shouldn't be playing in the Premier League. He's not good enough. Cody, I'm going to give Cody a 2, to be honest, because I don't think he was as tragic as the fullbacks, but I still think it was a really poor performance for Connor Cody standards. The goal, he's all over the place for. I think it's the second goal he's absolutely all over the place for. The first goal, he's not much better either. Both goals ultimately are should have been really easy to defend counter-attacks, and they weren't. And the two centre-halves were part of that process that was made to look so difficult. Connor Cody yesterday, I thought, had a horrendous game. I just thought he was all over the place. Everything he tried to do didn't come off. Every pass he tried to make didn't work. Defensively, he was all over the place. He just didn't have a good time of it yesterday. He really didn't have a good time of it. Tarkowski, I'm going to give him a 3. I thought he was slightly better than Connor Cody. I thought he was slightly less accident prone. I thought he was slightly less prone to making a horrendous mistake, but I still don't think he had a particularly good game, to be honest with you. So he's getting a 3. Garner in the midfield getting a 3. Absolutely nowhere near the pace of the game whatsoever. Nowhere near anything. And it's interesting because I remember sitting here doing the preview on Thursday before I went away, and I remember sitting here thinking, do you know what? If we can control the ball in the midfield, if we can have our midfield control the game, then we should be pretty confident we can get something out of this. We should be pretty confident that we can get a positive outcome if our midfield controls the game. And our midfield, on the basis of that, they controlled the game against the best team in the league, should have been able to control the game against the team whose midfield are really, really poor at the moment. But yeah, I mean, even a 3 for Garner is probably being a little bit too positive, to be honest with you. Maybe a 2 is a more likely score. And I don't know. I mean, the Blues says he had better numbers than in our home midfield. He might have had better numbers, but I watched his performance and he was fucking atrocious. He was atrocious. He was nowhere near the game. His passing wasn't very good. Again, he probably was the best out of the 3 of them, but he had no impact on the game whatsoever. No impact on the game. Onana, I'll give Garner a 4. I give Onana a 3. I thought he wasn't as involved as maybe he should have been. As I said in the instant match reaction, I thought this game would be very physical. I thought this game would be very, very sort of. In fact, no, Garner is getting a 3 because Garner's, he should have whipped Nunes up on the wing before he was able to get the ball in. Yeah, I'd have thought this game would be very physical. I'd have thought it'd be very, battling and tough and hard working, because it's a Merseyside derby and both teams are in a bit of free fall at the moment and this, that and the other. And it wasn't that type of game. It wasn't that type of game at all. And maybe had it been that type of game, there'd been a different result. But I'd have thought Onana would have been a little bit more involved. I thought he'd been a little bit more physical. Thought he'd been a little bit more up for it. And again, similarly to the whole sort of outcome of the performance, I think we just didn't see him anywhere near enough. I just don't think we seen him. I just think he hid. I don't think he was particularly involved. I just don't think any of the midfield were particularly involved. So Decore's going to get a 3 as well. Nowhere near the game. Just nowhere near the level they needed to be at. Just Liverpool's midfield were comfortable all afternoon. Liverpool's midfield were comfortable moving the ball, comfortable with it, comfortable without any real pressure on them, just comfortable all game. And our midfield were out of it, and that shouldn't have been the case. So yeah, Onana can get a 4. Decore can get a 3. Iwobi, he's getting a 3 as well. Ran round, bit of effort, bit of battle, bit of determination, but ultimately offered nothing. And the Blue says he wasn't involved because they kept the ball away from our midfield, nothing they can do. But they could do, because Liverpool's midfield is shite. Let's have it right. Liverpool's midfield is woeful. If you ask Liverpool fans what their biggest issue is, they will say their midfield. Their midfield is atrocious. And that midfield of Onana, Garner and Decore went up against a really good midfield in Arsenal's last week and were able to control the game, were able to get at them. So I can't really have this whole Liverpool's midfield kept the ball away from us, so it's not our fault. You could say that about anyone. You could say, Garner's been great all season, Onana's been great all season, because, Southampton's midfield were just better. I'm not having that. Liverpool's midfield is woeful, mate, and them 3 should have been doing much more. Iwobi, as I said, offered nothing, worked hard, ran round, tried, but ultimately offered nothing. He's getting a 3. Ellis Sims is getting a 2. He's not ready. And I don't care if you want to say, you can't have a go at him, he's too young. I'm not saying we lost that game because of Ellis Sims, and I'm not saying Ellis Sims is woeful. I'm not saying he'll never be good enough. I'm not saying he should never be given another chance. What I'm saying is, yesterday proved that he's far off the mark of where he needs to be, certainly for a Merseyside derby. Maybe if he gets another start in another Premier League game, something might come of it, but I just think he was miles away from it. I said in the instant match reaction, is hold-up play. You could just tell he was a young lad thrown in at the deep end that wasn't ready for that. You could just tell. And then McNeil, give him a 3 as well. I thought he ran round, put a couple of tackles in, sat back every now and then, but he offered nothing. And his shot, which ultimately led to the goal after Tarkowski hitting the post, is woeful. I mean, it was set up for just any footballer, not a right-footed player, not a left-footed player, any footballer, to put their right foot on it and just bend it round. I'll tell you now, and I can promise you now, that had that chance of been up the other end of the pitch, and that rebound would have fell to Salah or Nunez or whoever it may be, Gakpo, regardless of whether they're left-footed, right-footed or no-footed, that ball would have ended up in the back of the net. As soon as it landed to Dwight McNeil, I knew, well, it's not going to end up in the back of the net because he can't bend it in with his left foot. He can only bend it in with his right foot, and he's not going to do that. He's just going to lash at it with his left foot, and he did. It's atrocious. That's embarrassing. That clip should be shown to McNeil over and over and over again until he perfects using his right foot, because there's a real issue with Dwight McNeil and his seemingly terrified attitude of not wanting to use his other foot. I appreciate if his other foot isn't as good as his left, or if he's not as confident with it, or this, that and the other, but you can't be in a position as a Premier League forward where you have the ball 10 yards out, 15 yards out, and you will not have a go because it's not on your favoured foot. That can't happen. That simply can't happen. It's really poor. Onto the subs then. Mopé offered absolutely nothing, really, so we can get a 2. Gray, come on, I've given him a 5. He tried to run around, he tried to create, he tried to put it about, he tried to, work hard and battle and all of that, but nothing really come of it. And then Davis, I've given Davis a 4, because I can't even remember him touching the ball, and that might have been to do with being intoxicated. That might have been to do with the fact that he never genuinely done anything in the game. I don't know, but there you go. There you go. The Blues are some of the best players in the world. Can't use their weak foot. Ever seen Robin? But I don't take. I really don't take for that. I don't take for that. And Robin's left foot was Robin's weak foot. Sorry. Robin's strong foot. Fucking hell. Was I think he was left footed. Was immaculate. Absolutely immaculate. Dwight McNeil's isn't. Dwight McNeil's not good enough to be that one footed. He's not good enough with his left foot. Yeah. There you go. Anyway, we are going to leave it there. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. We will be back tomorrow with the game review, so don't forget to look out for that one. If you want to check out the instant match reaction, that is live on the channel now. But until then, big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you later.